Hey, it's Dave from Doing Things with Dave. And today is May 14th, and I wanted to talk about our last port stop that we made on the Norwegian Joy on my repositioning cruise from Miami to LA. So if you've been watching any of the videos, you know we've stopped in Cartagena, Colombia. We transited the Panama Canal. We stopped in Panama. We stopped in Costa Rica, Guatemala, and our first stop in Mexico was at Puerto Vallarta. And now we're coming to our last port stop before we get off the ship in LA, and that is of course, Cabo San Lucas. Now, Cabo San Lucas is obviously a very, very famous destination. Cruise ships obviously stop there a lot. People travel there. They spend a week or two. It's got all-inclusives. It's got some crazy, amazing beaches, a lot to do. It's on the very tip of the Baja Peninsula. So was excited, obviously, to visit this location. Again, I've been to Mexico a few times on the Yucatan side, on the Caribbean side, to Cozumel and Costa Rica, but this trip is my first time cruising through the Pacific. So our Puerto Vallarta trip was the first time in Puerto Vallarta and Mexican Riviera. So obviously Cabo is also my first time. Now, Cabo is a somewhat unique port in the fact that it does not have any cruise terminal, meaning there is no pier for you to dock and then walk out. It's a tender port. Tender ports, obviously, well, if you're not aware, tender ports can take a lot of time to get on and off the ship because each and every person has to physically leave the ship, get on a small boat. The boat has to get loaded, and then cruise, drive, move the half mile or mile from where the ship is to the dock. So that takes some time, and there's just a few places on the ship that are set up to get people on and off the ship safely and quickly. On the upside, for us, we were the only cruise ship in the port, so the port area has a bunch of tenders that come out, and they hold about 50 to 100 people each. So we didn't have to contend with another ship or multiple ships for that transportation. Like Puerto Vallarta, I chose not to have a ship organized excursion, and there was a couple reasons for that. Probably the biggest driver was because it was a tender port, combined with the limited amount of time we had in port. We basically anchored about 7 a.m. The first tender started running around 8, but we had to be back on the ship by 1 or 1:30 because we sailed away at 2 p.m. So a very short window. Ultimately, what my plan was, I wanted to get off the ship. I wanted to walk around the port area, have a beer or margarita, maybe get my magnet souvenir, and then get back on. I decided I was going to go low key just simply because with a tender port, you can get a lot of delays getting back on the tender, getting back onto the ship. So instead of trying to cram a lot of things in, I decided let me just basically touch the ground, touch grass, if you will, for a few minutes, see a bit, and then obviously I'd like to go back to Cabo. Now, Cabo is very famous for the arch. It's one of those big Instagrammable picture spots. It's at the very end of the peninsula, and it is really stunning. I've seen some of that type of seawater rock formations along the coast in Malibu and a few other places, but this was stunning. Now, what was really cool is my side of the ship was, again, I was on the port side, deck 12, was on the side where the arch is. So as we sailed in, I was able to get out on my balcony and take a shot of the arch as we made our way to anchor. Now that just was phenomenal. I did also get some good arch shots as we were leaving later in the day, but seeing the arch from my balcony as we cruised by it was really cool. I debated whether I was going to take one of those water taxis to go out to see the arch. Ultimately, I decided to pass on it. primarily because I felt like I got to see it at least close enough, and got a video, got a picture, sent it to my mom. So it felt like I got to see it. So in any case, I had met some friends on the ship. We decided to have breakfast together and then meet up and get a tender. We took the tender in, and relatively straightforward. The ship opened up on both sides to make it easy to get off the ship onto the boat, and then tender into port. And again, Cabo, give credit where credit's due. It is well set up. This is a well organized process. Having the tenders come from land versus having the lifeboats be used as tenders, which is sometimes what ships will do, makes it just as fast or as painless as possible, given the fact it still is a tender port. So when we got on land, we walked around a little. We saw some sea lions, including this one, I'll put a video up, who decided he was going to stay in the boat launch and was kind of incredulous looking that someone wanted to launch a boat. So that was just, kind of a smile, but, these sea lions are like, I'm big and I don't really care. I also, by the way, saw a variety of wildlife here. Saw a splash from a whale, but didn't get a picture. Saw some dolphins, didn't get a picture, but I did get a picture of dolphins, which I'll put a video up later. Also saw some seals, a variety of birds, a lot of fish. So Cabo is definitely quite vibrant. In any case, I got my magnet. We walked around all the way to where the Hard Rock Cafe is, so completely around the marina area, even though it was very close to where we got off the tender boat. Because of the way the marina is, it was probably a mile away, just having to walk around. We went into the Hard Rock Cafe. One of the friends I had met wanted to buy something. Unfortunately, they didn't really have much in the Hard Rock Cafe. It was a very sparse souvenir store. In any case, we walked back a bit. It started to get pretty warm. We all decided to grab a nice margarita, enjoy ourselves for a little while, and then we made it back to the tender, and then back on the ship. We were probably on land for about 2.5 hours max. So I think from like 9:30 to maybe noon, which was fine. My only, if you will, not complaint, but slight disappointment is I would have liked more time in Cabo to actually explore it, to see it. With a tender port, with that limited amount of, the sort of the choke point that a tender creates, having a very tight timeline just limits the amount of things you're comfortable doing. The last thing you want is obviously to be left and stuck and then have to get from a foreign country back into the U.S. and all of that hassle. Got back on the ship, and really we didn't do very much. Hung out at the pool area for a little while. It was quite warm. And then as we sailed away, got some more pictures of the arch. Very interesting. As we sailed away and kind of turned our way north and headed up the Baja Peninsula towards Los Angeles, it got noticeably cooler. So it was probably 80, 85 degrees when we were in the bay in Cabo. No wind, beautiful sun. When we pulled out and started on our way, it very quickly dropped about 15 degrees and went from beautiful to a little on the chillier side. The wind wasn't so bad, but it definitely was much cooler than it had been. And, it was what it was. We were done with ports. We were now on our way to our final destination, which of course was the Long Beach port in Los Angeles. And only had one more sea day after this day. So, the cruise was coming to a close. I will say at this point, I was super content. I just spent 2 weeks on an amazing cruise ship, had visited 6 ports, 5 countries, a new continent, transited the Panama Canal, felt like I had done so much, Really relaxed, really enjoyed myself, met some great people, saw some amazing things, lots of crocodiles, if you know, you know, had a bunch of great drinks, beers, and really just was incredibly content. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. If you do like these types of videos with my sort of quirky talk to the camera style, maybe subscribe. And in any case, I hope your day's going great, and I'll see you on the sea.